Get in on the conversation. Text TALK to 96230. We're your talk station. 1230 The Buzz.
Let's get into it. Get stoned. Get started. Get started. Get started.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town with PG Sittenfeld on 1230 WDBZ The Buzz. Great getting to talk with Bob Detrick and Lou Goldfarb. Some pretty staggering information in terms of which parties really have been and which presidents really have been the best, most able stewards of the economy. I certainly think I learned something new, so don't forget to get the book. Obviously, this weekend is Father's Day weekend, so we want to hear from you. What have been the lessons from your fathers that have really stuck with you? What have been the advice that you would give to others? What surprised you most about fatherhood if you are a father? And as I said before, I now, at great risk, welcome to Talk of the Town for the first time, my own father, Paul Sittenfeld. Daddy, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I think you're showing great courage.
I do this at great risk. And, Father, I'm in studio, as you know, with the lovely Tamaya Denard.
Hi, Tamaya.
Hey, Mr. Sittenfeld, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Well, so we do appreciate you coming on, Father. And let me preface this by saying, in addition to Happy Father's Day weekend to all of the fathers out there, Happy Father's Day weekend to you as well. So let me start by asking you this. I mean, what are some of the lessons from your own father that have stuck with you across the years?
I think the main lesson, as I think back, is that if I always say what I think and do what I think is right, I won't have to try very hard to remember. It'll make life a lot easier, and that's proven to be the case.
I think I've heard you say something similar that, even if you wanted to be dishonest, which you don't, it sounds like too much effort, Is that about...
remember what you said that you didn't mean or meant that you didn't say. It makes life kind of complicated and isn't worth the trouble.
Did your dad ever sort of, give you any sort of very direct, son, this is the way it is, sort of lessons like that, or?
No, I think it was more by example. I got the sense of how he led his life, how he dealt with his family, and how he dealt with his friends, and how he dealt with the people he worked for, and I think you learn more from what people do than what they say.
Along those lines, were there any sort of unintended lessons from your father that you absorbed? And no father is perfect. I won't mention your blemishes. I'm sure there aren't any.
And there isn't enough time on the program.
It's only an hour show. But any unintended lessons you absorbed from your father?
Nothing specific that I can remember.
What surprised you? You've now been a father for, how old is my oldest sister? I'm trying to think, about 30.
She'll be 39 in October.
So you've been a father for, let's call it, about 39 years. What was the biggest surprise to you as you sort of started your tenure of fatherhood?
I think the biggest surprise is you don't realize until you have children and how much you find you care about them and love them and are interested in them, how much your own parents were interested in and cared about you.
So it's one of those things where, in some ways, I guess it's hard to know how your own parents felt about you until you have sort of children of your own.
And the intensity of feeling and the depth of the commitment, exactly.
Now, you had one daughter, and then you had another daughter, and then you had another daughter, and clearly you needed to have a son at some point. But did your feelings about fatherhood or sort of your approach change as you had 4 kids, of which I am the baby, over an 11-year span?
I think as the older of 2, I just have one sibling, as you know, my younger sister. I think when they're 4, you have to let people kind of take care of themselves and not worry about every single scratch and skinned knee. And I think
is that why you were so insensitive to my skinned knees?
No, I think it was because I don't like you very much.
we knew the interview would get there. I actually was just telling someone with Tamaya right before we came over here when we were at the Juneteenth celebration that I do have this recollection of when you all were sending my oldest sister off to college. This may be less you, but my dear sweet mother sort of just being so emotional. Her baby was leaving the house for the first time and crying. And then about 11 years later, as I was getting ready to go off to college, I think it was, don't let the door hit you on the way out, sort of. Does that sound familiar?
Sounds very familiar.
Well, I guess more seriously, do you think parents get more comfortable over time inevitably or not necessarily?
I think typically they do, and I think you begin to realize that kids are flexible and kids can make sense of all kinds of situations as long as they basically know that they're loved and trusted and cared about. If you treat people as though they're responsible, they tend to behave more responsibly. If you don't feel the ability to trust them, they often are motivated to behave in distrustful ways.
Do you have any advice to future fathers, to those who are not yet fathers, but maybe a nugget or a kernel that they can keep in mind?
I think to enjoy the experience and to realize that just as you should do a lot for them, you should anticipate getting a lot of pleasure from them, and that life is complicated, and not every day will be the easiest day, but that's what families are about. You work on it together.
Well, and this does need to be asked. I even though you're my father and I love you very much, we can't spare you the hard-hitting question. So, who is your favorite child?
Well, as you know, we have 3 girls and 1 boy, and you certainly are my favorite son.
This is a diplomatic person. You can see where I get. If I have any political skills, I guess you can see where they come from.
I do.
And then, Father, have you received my Father's Day card in the mail yet?
I have not, and that's why there are tears streaming down my face. But I'm sure it'll come special delivery tomorrow if there is such a thing left, a special delivery.
Well, and if we don't get to talk much between now and then, happy Father's Day for 2013 and 2014 as well. Tamaya, any thoughts or questions for Paul Sittenfeld, my father?
None. He knows that he's one of my favorite people in the whole world. I don't have any questions, but he's a great father. Yeah,
and furthermore,
really.
If there's ever any trading opportunity, I would be happy to trade you for Tamaya. And I'll even throw in a utility infielder.
I will say that he's great person. I love PG. He's family to me. But then when you meet PG's parents, who I like a whole lot more than I like PG, you really, really know that he comes from good people. So thanks for being on the show today, Mr. Sittenfeld.
Thanks for the opportunity, and take good care.
Father, take care. Love you, and have a great Father's Day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I think we emerged relatively unscathed from that experience. It could have been. I guess I know where I stand. So, and Tamaya, you'll have to consult with your family and see if a Tamaya PG swap seems reasonable.